Hi there and welcome to another presentation. This is Father Marcus from the Costa Blanca Anglican Chaplaincy. It's great that you tuned in, so thank you very much for that. We do appreciate the fact that you tune in and listen to what we have to say. We're in that interesting time now, waiting for the coming of the Holy Spirit, which we celebrate at Pentecost, and we celebrate that huge feast this coming Sunday. And so my message on Saturday when I do my next video will be all about Pentecost. But I'm going to tell a story today about one of my experiences of the Holy Spirit. And apologies to any of you who've heard this story before, but it's a story that is worth telling more than once. Many years ago, when I was in the parish of Coldine in Moulsecoombe, we had a dreadful tragedy when two young girls in the parish, members of our Sunday school, were murdered, Nicola Fellows and Karen Hadaway. And I had the heartbreaking practice of having to go and visit with the families and then eventually put together a funeral service. It was the most difficult thing I've ever had to do in my life. It really was. Because of the nature of the thing, the funeral was not straight away. We had to wait quite a long time actually before the funeral could happen. And this funeral service was very much on my mind. You know, what was I going to say? How was I going to put together something that was going to make sense to the broken-hearted families and the community that was torn apart by these events? And so I did something I'd never done before, and that is that I contacted my colleagues from my own community, the Anglican community, and other churches in the area, and we got together and I asked them to do two things. One was to pray for me as I tried to put together a service and try to think what I was going to say, but also to help me come up with some words that were going to make sense. And they were so kind and so helpful, they really were. And we put together, mainly me, but with help from the others, put together this sermon, which I wrote. I printed it up in great big font on pages and double spaced it and rehearsed it. And my colleagues in the other churches had seen it and they made some comments, and I knew exactly what I was going to say. And I had it in big bold type in front of me. And on the day of the funeral, I got up into the church, into the pulpit. It was being held at St Andrew's, Moulsecoombe, where the young girls used to come for our Sunday school sometimes. They also went to St George's Hall, but this was in the big church, St Andrew's. And I got up into the pulpit and I opened my book in front of me, and there was a sermon in big bold type. And I prayed in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and went to read the text that I knew so well. And something completely different came out of my mouth. I had no idea what was happening. Something else came out of my mouth. A whole new thing. Words that I didn't know I was going to say. It just poured out. It began, surprised me, and I remember this, with the words, "God is great." And I don't know where that came from. Well, I do, but it wasn't coming from me. I had no idea what was happening. And this sermon all poured out from me. Anyway, we got through it. And at the end of the service, my colleagues from other churches were there. And they said, "So I don't know what happened to the sermon that we wrote, but the one that you preached was way better than anything that we put together." And for me, that was one of a whole range of experiences of the Holy Spirit that has happened to me. I have absolutely no doubt that it was the Holy Spirit who took my words and replaced them with words that were much more suitable. It was the most difficult thing I'd ever had to do in my life, but somehow inspired, I don't know, empowered, I don't know what words to use, but the Holy Spirit filled me and allowed me to make sense of this atrocity that had happened. Now, the reason I'm saying that, is not to draw any attention to me, but to draw attention to the fact that I do believe that God is continually at work in so many people, and His Holy Spirit dwells within us. And if we allow it to, it comes out from us in the most beautiful and powerful way, and sometimes in the most appropriate way. And perhaps our job is to let the Holy Spirit speak and not think that on our own we have the answers. So, where are we now? Well, we're in Wednesday of the week after Ascension and before Pentecost. And we are in this time of waiting and anticipating. And on Sunday we celebrate this great feast, the Feast of Pentecost, the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, and in all essence, the birth of the church. But those disciples, when they were in that upper room, locked away, they were waiting, and they really didn't know what to expect. And maybe that's the biggest thing that we can learn at the moment, that we're waiting, and we don't know what to expect, but the things of God are great. The things of God are truly great, and good things will happen. They really will. I will speak again on Saturday, speaking about Pentecost, but until then, keep safe. Pray for me, pray for one another, look out for one another, and open your heart and your mind and your soul to the presence and the power of that wonderful Spirit of God. Bless you, bless you, bless you. Until next time.